stuff. And apparently, there's California pot farmers ties to Newsom. Apparently, ICE came out to a California pot farm where they basically arrested 361 illegal immigrants, and 14 of them were children. I'm curious if they're going to hold the owner of this pot farm at all responsible for this.
And now we're getting new details about the California pot farm, which became the scene of a massive standoff between ICE agents and protesters last week. Agents managed to apprehend over 360 illegal immigrants at the farm, including 14 underage minors. And now we're learning more about the farm's owner. Glasshouse Farms president and co-founder Graham Farrar has been called a pioneer in growing so-called environmentally friendly cannabis.
If you say so.
He has a history of donating to Democratic candidates and causes, including a hefty $10,000 donation to Gavin Newsom back in 2018. Meanwhile, Democratic California leaders are still working to oppose immigration enforcement however they can. That includes Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass.
California has done everything it can to just say we're not part of the United States. That's what I'm getting. And the majority of these people protesting and fighting against ICE agents just seem like they're people with no friends. Beta males who are trying to get together with these activist females. And then you've got the worst part about it is this whole situation is the fact that the majority of ICE agents that are going in and arresting, which I don't agree with, they should not be allowed to go into judicial places and be able to arrest these people showing up for hearings. That's not something I approve of. But damn, dude, California has shown that it is just not part of the United States. Like, they do not want to be an active part of the United States. They might as well just secede. I mean, at this rate, if they're just not interested in being part of the U.S.,
who's rolling out a new plan to give cash cards to families allegedly threatened by ICE.
But we also are going to have a reinstitution of the Angelino card, something that Mayor Garcetti started during COVID, that will actually provide cash assistance to people. Because, you know, you have people who don't want to leave their homes, who are not going to work, and they are in need of cash. It's a couple $100s, I don't know the exact amount, and this should be available in about a week.
I'm curious if the taxpayers want to be paying people who don't actually pay any taxes at all and give them money, because I know I don't want, if I'm paying taxes, I don't want my taxes going towards paying for somebody who's not a legal part of the United States and giving them free money so they can still be here and they don't pay any taxes at all. It's like we're going backwards rather than forward.
Steve, so like we talked about, you are staunchly in the lead in California gubernatorial polls.
But I will say this, I don't agree with our immigration process. It costs, just for someone to become a nationalized citizen of a country, thousands of dollars. And they have to hire lawyers just to go through it. And they can be denied. And everything they paid for is useless.
Right now. So talk to us, how and why does your message resonate with the majority of Californians right now on these topics?
This is such a great, terrible example of what's been going wrong in California, because you've got people in charge who not only...
He's British. He's British. Interesting. I could be wrong. It could be Australian too. They have similar accents.
Won't enforce the law. They undermine the law. And you're seeing it on this issue of illegal immigration, and it's playing out for the whole country to see. But we've also seen it on crime more generally, the way that retail theft, shoplifting has been tolerated. We've seen it on homelessness. It's illegal for these encampments to be there.
Okay. Here's the situation we got. You have a situation with homeless, which is illegal, that be living on the side of the streets or in public places. You then have the situation with not just that, it's the illegal immigrations, then people committing petty theft. The problem is The U.S. jails so many people. There's no room left. And you're just going to jail more homeless people? They'd actually probably be better off in jail because they get 3 square meals a day. But I don't agree with them having to go there because they're sitting on public places like that. A lot of that is a systemic issue of the situation. It just is. I'm curious if anybody at all realizes what the political party that's running California right now is doing to it. At some point, we've got to put term limits on senators and congressmen. Just like the president can only serve 2 4-year terms, I think the same should be same for senators and congressmen. Because what's going to happen is they're not going to not have anything done. We'd actually have a lot more done in a faster amount of time. Because they know they're on a clock. But the majority of these senators and congressmen are 70, 80 plus years old. And they got their millions of dollars and they don't care anymore. Because at the end of the day, if the country goes belly up, they don't care. They got their millions while we have nothing.
They've been there for years and these politicians have done nothing about it. Now you have federal law being enforced by the federal administration, and they're saying, not only we're not going to help you, we're going to stand in your way, we're going to cheer on the people who are throwing rocks at our law enforcement agents, and we're going to pay for the organizations that are protesting this. And all of it could be...
And then they want to pay for the illegal immigrants too, by saying they're too afraid to leave their homes, so we're going to give them taxpayer money, even though they themselves don't pay taxes.
Avoided if they would just work with ICE to get these dangerous criminals out of our country. And it's not just federal.
Some are dangerous, others are not. To make that distinction to say they're all dangerous criminals is just a way overreach, because they're not. The majority of them probably are decent human beings. Some are not. I just despise California for the way it treats some immigrants who come in, have criminal records, do something illegal here, and then they just send them back down for them to come back up and do it again. There was an immigrant from Mexico who came up here, I think a total of 3 times. He raped 2 women, and he killed an individual, and still knew he was going to just get sent back down to Mexico, and got away with it. All 3 times, because California refused to prosecute him. Crazy.
Law that they're breaking when they don't do that. Even state law, even the California sanctuary state law has a provision in it that allows for discretion for local law enforcement to work with ICE when you're talking about people who within the last 15 years have been convicted of a long list of crimes. This lawlessness has to stop, and that's what I will do as governor.
Quick follow-up for you, Steve, because
this guy's running for governor of California. Interesting. Here's my question. Why does he sound British? I mean, I know foreigners can become governors. They just can't become president, which is weird. I don't know why that's a restriction. If they're a naturalized citizen, they should have the right, but I don't know. Some weird thing with the law.
Current Governor Gavin Newsom, who has enjoyed donations by that pot farm owner before he came out lambasting federal involvement there. You know, his prior comments were sort of clearly moderate. It was, you know, don't come illegally and we're going to deport you, and I'm all for legal migration, etc. But now it seems that he's gone extremely radical, certainly on recent podcasts. It's a stark contrast. He's clearly running for the national stage. Talk to us about what that impact is on current Californians who need a governor now.
Well, it seems that he's really not interested in doing his job as governor of California, because what's he doing? He's going on all these podcasts. He's in South Carolina last week. He's trolling President Trump on social media. I mean, these are the things that actually...
I mean, come on. Trump trolls at everybody. I mean, the dude can't even speak in complete coherent sentences without pausing in between them. I mean, at least he can speak in and finish those sentences, unlike Biden, who was literally confused all the time. There was a funny meme going around on YouTube with an ice cream truck running in the background when Biden walked off the stage because he was so confused, and it shows him just following the ice cream truck in the back with the ice cream music. Oh, that cracked me up.
Actually are far removed from the policy challenges we have in California. We've got the highest rate of poverty in the country. We pay the highest taxes, the highest costs for gas, electricity, water. We had the highest unemployment rate in the whole country for most of last year. Where is the response to any of that? It's non-existent. That's the kind of...
It's because they're about fast clicks, fast views, and what they believe people will see to get them elected, because they know the majority of people do not watch this type of stuff to get their information. They just read something, assume they know everything, and then they run with it. And they say, that bad, that good.
Serious change that we need to see. But instead, you've got Karen Bass just worrying about her own re-election next year for mayor of Los Angeles after the disaster of the wildfires. Gavin Newsom clearly focused on running for president. We need someone who's going to deal with our problems in California.
So I'm looking at what you gave me, the California Governor statewide polls, sample size 2012 registered voters. This is a big poll. Steve Hilton leading by 19% over Katie Porter. It's tight with her until you factor in those people who can't quite make up their minds, those undecided. You say there's about 30% of the electorate out there that hasn't made up their minds. Then the gap between you and Katie Porter gets greater. You factor in Kamala Harris, Katie Porter falls to third place, and you and Kamala are battling it out. So talk to me.
Ooh,
I don't know that those candidates that I'm looking at here are attacking any of the things that we're reporting on.
No.
I mean, everything that Emily just set up, I don't see it coming from them.
No, and the interesting thing is that we've had 15 years now of one-party rule in California.
It's been more like 20, it feels like, but 15 is probably pretty accurate, going back to 2010. I mean, you can't really say it's been better, but this is my issue with the two-party government that we have right now. Republicans and Democrats are the only ones you can vote for. Green Party tries. They can't do anything. All these other parties try. They can't do anything. Like I said, term limits on senators and congressmen, they should serve the exact same amount of time as presidents do. 4 years, 2 terms. That's it. And then they're out.
And the results are there. It's the worst results on everything that matters. The highest housing costs. I could go on all hour about everything that's gone wrong. But of course, what people want is someone to put things right, a positive change. And I think that's what people are responding to. And what's encouraging, look, it's very early.
True, but are you going to become the governor? Like Arnold Schwarzenegger? Yeah.
You know, the election is next June. We've barely begun campaigning. But what's really clear is that I'm there as the leading challenger, which whatever the scenario is, whether it's Kamala Harris or Katie Porter, any of these people, I'm the lead.
Kamala Harris running for governor of California? Oh boy. I don't think she can get it. Not at all.
Leading challenger to this 15 years of one-party rule. By the way, it'll be a big thing for the country if we can save California. We're the 4th biggest economy in the world. Imagine how far we could power again with real positive leadership.
Well, it's also...
Well, how about leadership that actually focuses on California's issues rather than everybody else just, going for the fastest clicks and views and not actually doing their job and having 100 days off plus a year as a senator or congressman. It's crazy to me that they only work about 200 days and they get like 100 plus off. I'm like, that's crazy. And I didn't even know that. I mean, our federal government's so bad right now here in the States. It's so bad that we literally had a senator that was on the docket who was apparently in a nursing home, unable to represent anybody, and was still being paid. Still being paid. What the hell?
So just bringing sanity back to California and the country. And what happened at these farms in California, these pot farms, is the definition of insanity. And it gives you a perspective on the Democrat Party's worldview, where here
360 plus immigrants, 14 of them children, all illegals, working on a pot farm in California. How the owner is not being prosecuted, I have no idea. Because I wouldn't prosecute those people. I'd prosecute the owner and fine the crap out of him because he was using cheap labor. Heck, I don't even know what he was paying them. I'm worried he wasn't paying them at all, probably in pennies, because he didn't have to file it through paychecks because they weren't paying taxes. They're illegal immigrants. Like, dude, that owner needs to get in some serious trouble for that.
Heroes are villains and villains are heroes. Let's look at the play-by-play. So on July 10th, you have ICE and other federal authorities go and raid these pot farms. They arrest at least 360 illegal aliens, 14 children they found.
That's crazy to me, too. They had children there. Now, whether the children were working or not, don't know. I just know that they said they were there. They had 14 children. They could have been like a daycare, maybe. I have no idea. All I know is that the owner or owners of all these pot farms should be prosecuted and fined a lot, because they just got away with illegal immigrants working probably for pennies on the dollar, and probably weren't getting paid a whole lot. And because there's no way they were paying taxes. That's my biggest thing with illegal immigration. They don't pay any taxes, and then they tell us we need to take our taxes and then pay to take care of these immigrants who are in the country not paying taxes. I don't like that.
That they were worried about that have been rescued from potential exploitation, forced labor, and human trafficking. 10 were unaccompanied. And then, by the way, some of these individuals they arrested, guess what they've been convicted of? You've got rape, child molestation, kidnapping during the operation, according to DHS.
What? I didn't know that. Are you kidding me? So they were trafficking children at these pot farms? Fucking disgusting, excuse my language, but oh my God.
So instead of saying, hey, look, that's really good, right? Let's praise ICE officials for saving these children, rescue.
Okay, I can praise them for doing their jobs, but there's limits to what I'm willing to accept when it comes to forced deportation. Ugh.
Rescuing these children, what happened? You had hundreds go and protest, including, attacking federal agents, firing a gun at a federal agent.
What's this? Migrants caught at the California Cannabis Farm ICE raid. These Mexican legal immigrant convicted of kidnapping, attempted rape, attempted child molestation, previously deported in 2006. Okay, so maybe they weren't talking about those children being molested. That maybe they were talking about the past crimes. Maybe both. Regardless, though, those kids should not have been there. Salvadorian illegal immigrant Jose Orlano, convicted of DUI and hit and run with property damage. Mexican legal immigrant convicted of rape. And they won't get prosecuted. They'll get deported again, and they'll just come back and do it again. It's a constant cycle. It doesn't stop. And even if we prosecute them and put them in jail, our jails are already overflowing. Ugh. The only way this is going to change is if we get some actual real change going on. Wow.
And then you have a congressman accused of doxing one of the ICE agents as well, on top of it. And then,
a congressman dox? What? I didn't catch that fully.
At a federal agent. And then you have a congressman accused of doxing one of the...
A congressman doxed an ICE agent. Out of the, hundreds of agents that they send to do these deportations and these raids? You're telling me that one of them got doxed? Just one?
The ICE agents as well, on top of it. And then, by the way, just to sum it all up, the owner of the pot farm donated to Democrats. Yeah. Does that not tell you everything?
No, that doesn't really tell me everything. Because, you can donate to Republicans and Democrats. I'm more concerned about the fact that he has them there, and he's probably not going to get prosecuted or fined.
About today's Democrat Party and what's wrong with this party?
And Rosanna, we've seen polls just recently that reflect that the majority of Americans across the board now support illegal immigration deportation in addition to those with criminal records. So the fact that you have these state officials that are refusing to work with ICE officials, that are straight up obstructing the federal government in their execution of these duties that were a mandate by the American people, and you contrast that with the
there it
will
is.
of
I
the
was looking for
people,
my
it's
phone and I
horrifying.
couldn't find
I mean,
it.
you look at Mayor
found
Bass, right? She's offering gift cards out. She's not saying exactly how much is on those gift cards. She doesn't know. She doesn't know.
Wow.
Harris, do you think she doesn't know? She knows she's giving out gift cards, but she doesn't know how much is on the gift cards.
Yeah, they're giving out gift
Another way
cards.
to keep some of those people, hidden. And the city of Los Angeles, $1 billion in
deficit.
debt.
Yes.
In debt.
Amazing.
So LA has $1 billion in debt, and their next goal is to give out gift cards to illegal immigrants who are too afraid to leave their homes from getting deported with our tax money. I mean, I don't pay taxes towards California, but for the people that pay tax in California, they're going to have to pay for these gift cards that go towards these illegal immigrants who don't pay taxes at all. Democrats really got to get their priorities straight.
Amazing. And she's handing out free money to
And
people
then-
who are illegally here.
And Steve, and then let's not forget about the people that were, ravaged by the wildfires. I'm not talking about the celebrities. They'll be fine. I'm sure their insurance will work at some point. But there were real working class neighborhoods that were there for generations after generations that need help. Where are they? Nothing's been done in those areas, Steve.
They don't even talk about it.
And people are, and the really awful thing, just very briefly, is that people are giving up the bureaucracy, the insurance, the nightmare. They're giving up, they're abandoning, and then that means you're going to lose the single-family homes. They want to build apartments and destroy the California dream. It's awful.
It's so different. Yeah,
I don't know. I always
we'll
thought the
take 'em.
California
Yeah, my
dream
home's
was
in
just
Arizona,
wanting
we'll
to
take 'em. Yeah.
Well,
be
it's
in
not
warm
too
weather.
late for California, thanks to leadership like you and your mission and your vision.
That's the plan.
That's the plan.
I wish him luck, because if he does end up becoming governor, he has a long road ahead of him, and he only has 4 years to do it.
Go, Steve.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-host
That is nuts. That is nuts. I hope that cannabis owner of that farm actually gets fined up the wazoo. That's crazy. So now what we have anarchy in Europe as North African and Middle Eastern gangs seamlessly terrorize its victims. I'm curious if these are actual gangs doing this, because I don't know the full story about what's going on in Spain.
It is anarchy in parts of Spain, France and the UK right now, as migrant gangs from Northern Africa and the Middle East violently try to take over and intimidate innocent people.
Are they though? Because from everything I've seen, it's been mainly Spaniards who are going after the illegals because they're just tired of them being there.
Spain is currently in crisis, with ongoing clashes between migrant gangs and Spaniards following the violent bashing of an elderly man in Torre Pachato.
You wanted a martyr, you got it. That old man, I saw those pictures too. He got beaten.
And again in Spain, a man with a baby was callously threatened by a knife-wielding gang for simply walking down the street.
Look at the way that kid's walking. I would have just picked him up and body slammed him. They think they're so tough. Literally, just walking up. It's the way he was walking.
And in the tourist mecca of Barcelona, the cobblestone laneways are no longer filled with people enjoying their vacations, but with hundreds of Muslim men chanting. This commentator sent a stark warning, saying, if you wanted to visit Barcelona, Spain, now it's looking like Islamabad, Pakistan. France is also in a migration mess, with violence running rampant in the streets, like at the Fête
And this is why Poland won't allow anybody in.
de la Musique last month, where hundreds of young people were stabbed with syringes and property set alight. Online commentators were in shock with the footage, with this person saying, "This is France? This looks like Ghana, not France." And
Now I see
2
why
women were left injured and
UK
terrified after their car
the
was
UK left the
surrounded and
European
destroyed
Union.
by rioters following the PSG Champions League victory. In the UK, the situation is even more dire, with daily occurrences of violent bashings and stabbings by migrant groups on innocent local victims.
At this point, why aren't they declared martial law and just start rounding these people up? I don't understand why their governments are allowing this to continue and not rounding up the people that are going out there and doing that. It may be a lot of people, but you can capture quite a few of them. Crazy.
Knife crime is at an all-time high, with people being randomly targeted on the streets.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Give the play back to you. Let's go. Let's go. You're not going to use the play. You're not going to use the play. You're not going to use the play.
Women's advocacy group Women's Safety Initiative is speaking up about the issue to raise awareness about the dire state of play in the UK at the moment.
The silent impact of mass migration on women's daily lives in the UK is a stark reminder of the point that we have got to in this country. A country that has chosen multiculturalism over assimilation, ultimately leading to what we have now.
Well, in the UK, they're literally arresting people for the comments that they post online towards government officials. And they're not even threatening comments. If you make fun of somebody, you can get arrested. That's nuts.
Parallel communities with limited
Freedom of speech does not
cross-cultural
exist in the UK
understanding.
anymore, so
Let's
if you
say
ever
that
travel
Gordon
there,
Green,
keep that in
one of
mind.
the most dangerous areas you could possibly live in Birmingham, with 181 crimes per 1,000 residents, and a large portion of these crimes being of sexual and violent offences. Now let me make it clear, the demographic of this ward is significant. Less than 10% of this ward account for white British people. Violence and sexual offences constitute the largest crime category in Borsley Green, making up 50.3% of all crimes reported. They are averaging at about 150 to 160 violent sexual offences committed every month.
And commentator Matt Goodwin agreed.
So a 24-year-old man has been brutally murdered on the streets of London, outside a luxury hotel, by another man who was allegedly trying to steal his watch. This is merely the latest horrific symbol of how out of control and horrific London has become. Just look at the stats. Shoplifting is up 54%, theft from the person is up 41%, 70,000 phones were stolen from people in this city last year alone. There's a rape every hour, sexual offences are through the roof, and it's not just the crime that bothers me. London has also become a symbol for liberal progressives of how they'd like to see the rest of the country. But do you really want the rest of the country to look like London? Hundreds of thousands of people who don't speak English, our national language, hundreds of thousands of illegal migrants, hate marches on the streets of our capital city every week, pro-Hamas, pro-Hezbollah hate marches.
And all of this.
And the worst part about it is that a lot of the European countries have brought in all the migrants to help them escape the situation that they were in. And then instead of taking advantage of the fact that they got out and have the chance to do something better for themselves, they resort straight to violence and start attacking a bunch of people. Crazy.
Stark evidence and footage of countries overrun by violence and division, yet their governments and leadership do absolutely nothing. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer seems to be more concerned about protecting the illegal migrants than protecting his own people. Reform UK's Zia Youssef slammed the Prime Minister for his incompetence on the issue.
It's all garbage. No one's listening, which is why his approval ratings have collapsed at historic speed. Look, there's north of 1.2 million people here in this country illegally already.
I mean, once they start, when a political person's reaching the end of their career, they just stop doing anything that does anything. They just stop and they let it all just free fall.
They are crossing the channel illegally at record numbers, right? So things aren't not improving fast enough. They are getting demonstrably worse every single week. And the only way we're going to solve this problem, Mike, and restore a social contract that is hanging by a thread in this country is by deporting every single one of those 1.2 million people who are here. We need to be standing up enormous amounts of detention capacity. We need huge numbers of charter flights. We need return agreements with countries to take these people back. And if they don't take them back, we need to be doing things like stopping issuing visas altogether. We need to be scrapping the foreign aid.
And Starmer's latest humiliation. His deal with Emmanuel Macron of France over illegals, which commentators believe will have absolutely no impact on fixing the current issue.
Well, it won't. It's two countries that already have millions of migrants. What are they going to do? Their deal is to what? Keep them there? Send them back? I don't think the UK or France has anywhere near the level of resource that the US does when it comes to ICE, when it comes to deporting people. Not that it does any good over here in the United States. I mean, everyone we deport just comes back and does it again.
As far as their main kind of policies go, one of them they bang on about because of that ridiculous, ludicrous summit Le Summit, as we've called it here, between Emmanuel Macron and Keir Starmer. You know, they seem to think that finding some form of middle ground and finding an agreement on stopping the migrants is going to stop them. Well, it isn't. You know, they've now got the idea, Yvette Cooper has, that they're going to send some people back to Iraq. You know, I'll believe it when I see it. Nothing of what they do works.
No one is going to go back to Iraq because even if they have a returns deal, the European Convention of Human Rights in its court will interfere and prevent that deal from being enacted.
And in a shock move, French...
That's why the UK pulled out of the EU. Wouldn't shock me if other countries started doing that. And NATO just goes... and ceases to exist for every country again. Honestly, the need for NATO was good for its time. Maybe it's not needed anymore. I have no idea. I'm not a big expert on this stuff. I'm just saying that what they're doing is not working.
Reports indicate that France is now giving all Palestinians in Gaza the opportunity to apply for asylum. This commentator revealed the news, saying a French court has ruled that all people from Gaza can apply for asylum in France. That is 2.1 million people that can come to Europe. Not only that, because of freedom of movement, they could potentially travel anywhere in the EU once inside France. Sounds like a bad idea. And whilst the leaders of Europe refuse to do anything, the people have taken things into their own hands to send a message that this will not be tolerated.
They're eventually going to lose their voices.
Spaniards have also had enough and are responding with violence.
That woman just got kicked, that female officer. Saw her get the wind knocked out of her. And that's the problem when they don't have any means for the police to even enforce the laws, because they can't carry guns or tasers. They carry a nightstick. Got some crazy stuff going on. It wouldn't be an issue accepting the migrants if they weren't committing terrorist acts once they get there. Sad state of affairs, but that's just how it goes. Alright, I wanted to see... Hey there everyone, if you enjoyed this content, like and subscribe, and comment down below. Thanks again.